Hi guys, this is Dan from Magic Pachinko with a short video, not specifically on a vintage pachinko machine, but something that was kind of an interesting project that I just finished for a pachinko friend. And while I'm on that subject of pachinko friends, if you are just a one-timer, then this really doesn't apply to you. But if you're going to get into doing this and do it on any kind of a regular basis, whether it's just for you or you want to make some money doing it, whatever you want to do, you'll find friends, I guess you want to call them. I have any number of them that I've met over time. I suppose you got to be able to get me, huh? Okay. Found a bunch of them over time, and Bill Cardwell was my mentor, and he and I talked many times. Over time, Rudy Graham and I have become very good friends, and there are others, Scott and John, and just some other folks that I know in the business. And my opinion of pachinko friends is that if I have something and you need it and I don't, you're welcome to it, if it's going to help you out and get another machine up and running. I don't necessarily need anything in return, because at some moment in time I may need something, and lo and behold, you have it, and you can return the favor. So that's kind of the way that I work. So John Lerner from the West Coast gave me a call early this morning. I was kind of surprised he was up that early. And he had a power flash that was missing some tulips. And he asked if I had any of the power flash tulips, which I did. I had a whole bunch of them. But if you're familiar with a power flash tulip, hang on one second. Yeah, that's the band. Okay, the power flash tulips all have this little wire soldered right up in here. Well, you can't see it for that. Okay, it's right in there. That's a solder joint right there at the end of my finger. So it's a little angular bent piece of wire. So when the tulip sits in the machine like this, and those actuators move up and down with the solenoids, it opens and closes these tulips. Okay, that's how a power flash works. So John needed some tulips. I had them, but I looked at the tulips that I had. This is a power flash tulip, and somebody had cut the wire off. I'm not quite sure why. I mean, I still haven't figured out why people do certain things to their pachinkos. But at any rate, none of the tulips that I had the wires. So John sweet talked me. He said, "Oh, I know you have that skill," which I do, and I didn't mind doing it for him. So I went to my wire collection. I've got a whole bunch of wire, and I found this wire here. Good stiffness to it, and I thought, this is great. So I spent some time with an original, and this is pretty easy to do. Let's see if I can get there where you can see it really well. Okay, maybe on my shirt, I don't know, but you can see the bend in that wire. So where my fingertips are is where the solder joint would be. That's where you would solder it into the tulip. So bending this wire was easy. So I got a tulip held over on my vise, and I was hanging onto the piece of wire with my needle nose, and I was trying to solder. And it wasn't going well. So I thought, well, a lot of heat sink in the soldering iron. So I cranked my soldering iron. I have an adjustable soldering iron. I cranked it up over 700, and that started to melt the solder. And I thought, okay, I'm good. And although it melted the solder, none of the solder was sticking to the little clip that I made. And I thought, what the heck? So I'm cleaning it, I'm scrubbing it up, I'm trying to make the surface good so it'll solder. And all of a sudden it dawned on me that this particular wire came out of a package that probably looked like this, that said galvanized. Well, you can't solder galvanized wire. whatever they do to galvanize it, it won't take solder. I thought, oh, for goodness sakes. So now I need something like a piece of copper or a piece of brass, and unfortunately I didn't have anything handy. So what I did, and there is a character on old-time TV called MacGyver, and if you're familiar with it, he could make pretty much anything out of anything and get him out of sticky situations. So I had this is actually 24 gauge, which is very fine wire, very lightweight wire, but it's copper. So what I did is I took a length of it and just bent it like this, and then took another length, and I just kept doing this and making it multi-strand. And then I stuck one end in the vise and used my needle nose to twist. So what I ended up with is a fairly thick piece of copper wire. And then what I did is I soldered the entire length of this, and the solder takes very well, and it became a pretty nice stiff piece of wire that I could easily bend. So this is the finished result. This is the wire here with the bend, and I don't know if you can see down in there all that well, but right at the end of my fingers where it got soldered, this plate in the tulip is brass, and you've got to get it clean, get some flux in there, and then it will solder. Now what John might have to do is tweak these, maybe cut the length, I'm not sure, but they're about as close as I can get them. So now we have a Power Flash tulip with the little wire back on it. So that was a fun experience. So you know, you just have to sometimes think outside of the box and come up with creative ways of doing things. I've seen some very creative ways of doing things on pachinkos, and there are times when I just sort of go, what the hell were you thinking? But whatever it takes to get the job done. And remember, if you can do somebody a favor sometime, they'll make sure that they do one back for you. So have a pachinko friend. Thanks. Hope you enjoyed the video.